The Coalition medical scanner was never meant to hesitate. It cataloged biology with ruthless efficiency, reducing entire species to clean data sets: bone density, organ redundancy, neural response times. To the Coalition, life was something measurable, quantifiable. A problem to be solved with data. That was why the pause mattered so much. A sharp, metallic tone suddenly echoed through the sterile medical bay. The scanner, hovering just above the human recruit, abruptly shut down its primary analysis cycle. A stark red message flashed on the main screen. Error. Classification failure. Dr. Zeleth of the Troll froze mid-motion. His 8-fingered hand stopped just short of the console. His kind, the Troll, prized precision above all else. For them, a machine failing wasn't just a glitch. It was a contradiction, an impossibility. Machines did not fail without a very good reason. "Restart the scan," he ordered, his voice tight. The junior technician's appendages trembled slightly as they tapped the command. The scanner whirred back to life, rebooting its systems. A moment later, it projected a shimmering, three-dimensional skeletal image into the air between them. As the image stabilized, a low murmur spread like a ripple through the assembled medical staff. This couldn't be right. The human's bones were layered, not augmented. This wasn't the result of some crude cybernetic enhancement, and they weren't artificial replacements. The patterns were organic, woven into the very fabric of the being on the table. The only word that came to Zeleth's mind was survived. Elias Ward lay calmly on the examination platform, his eyes fixed on the white ceiling panels, seemingly unbothered by the growing commotion. He watched as alien specialists, with their varied forms and clicking mandibles, crowded closer to get a better look at his impossible skeleton. His femurs, the strongest bones in his body, showed dozens of healed compression fractures, set at angles that should have been permanently crippling. His ribs bore the faint, spider-webbing lines of impact stress, consistent with being crushed under the weight of collapsing structures. His skull, most remarkably, displayed a network of micro-reinforcements, a lattice of bone that had formed through repeated trauma and recovery. It was as if his body had learned from every blow and rebuilt itself stronger. "These stress patterns," Zeleth whispered, his voice full of awe and disbelief. "They indicate survival after catastrophic environmental failure." Another medic, a lanky being from a low-gravity world, leaned in, its optical sensors widening. Repeatedly, it added, the single word hanging in the air with immense weight. The scanner's analysis, now back online, scrolled faster and faster, its algorithms struggling desperately to contextualize the flood of impossible data. A new line of text appeared, stark and chilling. Cause of trauma. Planetary events. Severity. Extinction level. The room fell silent. Extinction level events. Plural. Dr. Zeleth turned his large, multifaceted eyes to the human. "Explain." Elias let out a slow, steady breath. "Earth doesn't really do quiet disasters," he said, his voice even, the gravity restraints holding him down, disengaged with a soft hiss, and he sat up slightly, swinging his legs over the side of the platform. "Some worlds, I hear, they end in one clean moment, a supernova, an asteroid, quick and tidy. Ours likes to try again and again." He listed them off without a hint of drama, as if he were reciting a grocery list. Megaquakes that split entire coastlines, sending tsunamis racing across oceans. Superstorms that could erase a city from the map overnight. Volcanic winters that choked the skies with ash for years on end, blotting out the sun. Orbital debris showers from the fallout of old defensive wars, raining fire from the heavens, each one an apocalypse. For humanity, it was just another Tuesday. "With all due respect, Recruit Ward," Zeleth said, his voice unsteady for the first time in his long career. "Your species should not exist." A faint, wry smile touched Elias's lips. "We hear that a lot," he replied. Just then, the scanner chimed one final, definitive time. It projected a new, terrifying designation across the chamber in blazing red letters. Subject classification. World Ender Survivor. Event count. Verified. Multiple. As if summoned by the alarm, The medical bay doors slid open with a forceful whoosh. A squad of Coalition security officers rushed in, their plasma rifles half raised, expecting to find some monstrous threat. They were led by Admiral Corvin, a towering figure whose presence commanded immediate respect. The Admiral halted abruptly when he saw the display, his gaze locking on to the red designation. "This designation," the Admiral said, his deep voice resonating with authority, "is reserved for artifacts of extinct civilizations. It is a post-mortem classification." Elias met the Admiral's gaze without flinching. "Then your definition is outdated, sir." The Admiral studied the human, this seemingly unremarkable biped who had broken their most advanced analytical systems. "Are you a soldier, Ward?" he asked, his tone shifting from tactical to curious. "No," Cerelia said. "I'm a civil engineer." That answer hit the room harder than any weapon ever could. Not a warrior bred for combat. A builder. A problem solver. Someone whose entire job was to make things stand when everything else was trying to knock them down. Later, within the hallowed quiet of the High Council chamber, the scan data was replayed in complete silence. The Coalition's greatest minds watched as analysts highlighted the bone growth patterns, showing not just individual healing, but generational adaptation. The evidence was undeniable. These survival traits were becoming normalized in the human genome. "These are not outliers," one counselor concluded, her voice barely a whisper. "This is their new baseline." Another added, a sense of dread creeping into his tone. "Their own planet is actively, relentlessly hostile to sentient life." Admiral Corvin stood, his shadow falling across the holographic display. "And yet," he said, his voice ringing with a newfound understanding, "they thrive." Coalition doctrine had always classified inhabitants of so-called death worlds as dangerous, primarily due to aggression born from a harsh environment. But humans shattered that model. They weren't dangerous because they were aggressive. They were dangerous because they endured. They were dangerous because when the universe threw an apocalypse at them, they simply rebuilt and kept going. When Elias was finally cleared for duty, his assignment was to a mixed-species expeditionary unit. The alien soldiers in his squad watched him differently now. He wasn't prey, some fragile newcomer to be protected. He wasn't a weapon, some berserker to be unleashed. He was something else entirely, something forged in the heart of a planetary crucible. During their first deployment to a geologically unstable moon, the ground began to tremble violently. Panic began to ripple through the unit, as fishes spiderwebbed across the rocky terrain. But while everyone else stumbled, Elias simply adjusted his footing, planting his feet with an instinct born of a lifetime of instability. "Ground's about to shear," he announced calmly, his voice cutting through the rising fear. "Move to that ridge. We've got about 30 seconds. They didn't question him. They listened. They moved. And because they did, they survived." In the final Coalition report that was disseminated across the entire galactic fleet, a single critical line was added to interstellar doctrine, a warning and a testament for all species to understand. Humans are not survivors of war. They are survivors of worlds that tried to kill them. And wondered quietly to himself what kind of galaxy could ever truly feel dangerous again. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this story about humanity's incredible resilience, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into science fiction. Let us know in the comments what you think makes humans so unique in the universe. Until next time.